Good afternoon or evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back with a swag coverage. I know I haven't done swag in a while, but this one I figured I would do it. I had a choice. Either I cover Titan Finance, which Monster Bull brought to attention, or I cover this business. It was a difficult choice, but I figured this one was a little bit more intriguing, and I figured I'd try to help save some people potentially from losing a lot of money. This one is called BurnX on the Binance Smart Chain. And there's a couple of things on. It's obvious what they're going off of, right? It's going off of Luna and the fiasco that is Luna and Do Rug Pull. That's why it caught my eye. These people put together this project in a little bit of a hurry and figured they'd go ahead and bank on it. I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt, though, so I did a little bit of digging, and let's talk about what this is doing. Once again, Binance Smart Chain, and they talk about an ultra auto burn meme token version of Luna. This token has nothing to do with Luna Classic or Luna Shiny. So please don't go in under the assumption that it's going to burn Luna or it's going to improve the burn of Luna or do anything else other than bank off of the sentiment loss around Do Rug Pull, because that's really what it's doing. If we look at this business now, hyperdeflationary auto burn, constrained supply, manual burn events, these are all common things. We see a lot of tokens do them. Auto burn on transactions, auto liquidity, liquidify as it's referred to. We see these on many of these projects, right? They're KYC'd and audited through Desert Finance. This caught my eye because Desert Finance is arguably the best in the business for the Binance Smart Chain audits. So now I'm intrigued. Are they serious? Because there's a lot of projects on the Binance Smart Chain and very few of them go through the pain of a Desert Finance audit. Desert Finance, again, is arguably one of the best in the business for at least the audit side. Now, the KYC, I can't really give them that same dap, but I will give them credit for the audit at least. They also have a white paper that is a PDF, Hercules, and I'm going to come back to the white paper because they won't like what I have to say about it, but I'll come back to it. There's a roadmap. Here's where I had flag number 1. First of all, technically flag 1 and 1.5. Number 1, there's no dates on any of this garbage. They just have phases and it's a tracker and that's all cool. There's no dates on any of this stuff. 1.5 is once they get past all this stuff, which is basically be there, airdrops causes me concern because this has a heavily constrained supply. I'll get back to that in a second. Marketing campaigns. By itself, this isn't bad. But then on phase 2, more marketing campaigns. Shillers. They can call them influencers. We know what they mean, right? Ads and social media, more promotions. Again, it's more about marketing and shiller as opposed to utility. As I've said before, what do you do? Phase 3, more airdrops, which I'll get back to why this is a problem. And then, of course, NFTs, which everybody's jumping on. More marketing in phase 4. They claim to get on SEX, centralized exchanges. Of course, they can get on the ghetto ones pretty easy. That's not that hard. Our own special NFT platform, there's very low amounts of specificity with this project. Phase 5, our own swap, which everybody's doing. We want to create a mobile app with a wallet. No specifics as to what they mean. Metaverse, without saying what it is, and our own meme token exchange. There's no specifics about any of this stuff. They have a good social media presence, including a Reddit, which I like to see Reddit forums. But they don't do anything. And their roadmap is crap. And not rap is crap, but roadmap is crap. And I was disappointed to see that they went through the effort of a Desert Finance audit, but then they have a crap roadmap. I was very disheartened. And seeing that there's a bunch of airdrops all over the place, all of this bothered me. So I said, and then of course there's no identities on the site and all that. They have an email and a form, but they really want you to go to their telescam, so they're already low on my list. But I said, let me give them the benefit of the doubt. So let me pull up my good trusty tool, Market Move, and see what we got here. So here's the graph. Market Move is one of the most awesome tools for Binance tokens, BSC tokens, by the way. MarketMove.ai. So the graph, it's down here for a while, launched in June, basically on the 1st, and was steady state, and then there's unreasonable pumps up to a thing, and then dumps, and then start trading sideways. Volume is at an all-time low after this initial pump. So you had thousands and thousands, and it's down to like 30. So it's trading sideways with no real volume. With a total supply of 1 billion, circulating supply of 862 million. Okay, well, if you have 1 billion in total supply, I question your ability to do airdrops effectively because you don't have that much supply to be airdropping to people. So where are you getting the supply to be able to airdrop people? So I've red flag number one is, I think, 3 levels on the roadmap talking about airdrops when you have an extremely constrained supply. I ran the audit. And if you didn't know about Market Move's audit, I do recommend it for Binance tokens. But I ran the audit. And what I noticed is on the holders, there's only 800 some odd holders. This did do a pre-sale. Apparently the pre-sale sold out. But there's only 800 some odd holders. How is that possible, you ask? How is it possible that you have a pre-sale that sells out in record time, I believe it said in an hour, with only 800 people? Well, that's kind of odd, unless if you didn't have a very high cap for your pre-sale. Top 5 holders have almost 30% of the supply. Top 10 holders have almost 30% of the supply. So, okay, at least the owner wallet's not up here. As I flip through, I don't see the owner wallet, so that's good. The problem is that top wallet here, almost 18% of the circulating supply, could dump at any time $400 some odd thousand worth of value. If that particular wallet were to sell off at any time, this project would immediately crack, which is a risk in of itself. So despite the fact that the owner, the deployer, doesn't appear to be holding a significant number of tokens, if at all, it doesn't matter because you have a lot of whales in this. And because they're doing airdrops, these could be like buddies of the owner. It could be the owner himself with multiple wallets. There's all sorts of problem with these numbers and how many people are holding vast amounts of the supply. Liquidity looks in a decent state. The problem is if you look at the numbers, it says 1.7. This is BNB, mind you. So then I've got about 60,000 in the liquidity pool. There's only $60,000 locked in the liquidity pool, although your top holder holds $400,000 worth of value in their individual wallet. What that means is it's unsustainable. It's insolvent is even a better word. This means that your holders are basically the only thing keeping this propped up. I looked a little bit further. It's not renounced ownership, entitled to exclude from rewards. So what that means is if there are the airdrops or there's any reflections or anything else, the owner can block certain addresses. They can also whitelist certain addresses, meaning force include. They could whitelist just themselves so they get all the reflections or their buddies. These are risky things. Misking validation for the buy fee setter should validate the range of the buy fee so it doesn't exceed right values. So what this is saying is when you set a buy fee, what it should do is it should verify what that fee is set to make sure that it doesn't exceed, doesn't round up and doesn't exceed. Well, the owner can change that fee. That's a problem. Outside of the missing value, they can actually change it to whatever the heck they want, whatever they want. Same validation for the selfie. These errors, the missing validation, are extremely rare to see in a production contract. They were called out in the Desert Finance audit as well. The fact that they weren't fixed before this went live tells me they rushed this out the door and wanted to get it in there, banking on the hype of the Luna Classic and Luna Shiny frustration. Primary reason why. Contract owner can assign fees to specific holders. I've never seen this in any other contract. What it says is they can identify a whale, let's say, or they can identify some of the wallet and they can apply a fee that's different to those holders. Why would you ever want to do that? That's the open question. Everything else is par for the course. A 52% isn't that bad, but the issue is primarily around the number of holders because they could tank this project. The contract code has issues too, but I would argue that the holders are the biggest issue, because unless they're going to block cells from the whales, and it didn't appear to have an anti-well mechanic, these people can tank off the project. Also, if you look at the balance numbers, 1 million, 1 million, 1 million, they're so even, and like these are just over a million, these are likely airdrops. Well, that means if this person got an airdrop of 1 million, they're already at near $3,000 worth of value straight off scratch without doing anything. And if I go look at this wallet, Binance, so there's some BNB out to Cyborg, out to this other wallet, BEP20. So it looks like it's a decently old wallet that's been sitting there for a while. And then all of a sudden, it gets a drop of BurnX. And by the way, here's your flag for the day. That rhymes. It's sitting on, I'm pretty sure this is not the true Lily Finance. I'm pretty sure it's a different LY, but we'll look at it later. Cyborg Inu. If nobody knows what Cyborg Inu is, Cyborg Inu was back in 2021, and it started up as one of these projects that claimed that it wanted to do what SHIB couldn't do with the burns. And it essentially failed. It didn't truly rug pull. It essentially failed over time. So seeing that it was involved in this with significantly high numbers, it got an airdrop of that too, tells me that whoever's behind this, either they're in on the fix or they're associated with scams at some point later. Now, let's take a look at this alleged Lily Finance deal, LY. We got 30,000 addresses holding this business. Well, that's inspiring. Let's take a look at our transaction tree. This says 168 quadrillion. Actually, looks like, quadrillion. 168 quadrillion in supply. If you know Lily Finance, it doesn't have nearly that many in supply. As far as I'm aware, it does not. And, by the way, Lily Finance is not on the Binance Smart Chain. So this looks like a clone, possibly a different type of token, likely to bank off the Lily Finance. Let's look at the dates and see if we can confirm that. Well, this one says it happened last year, so maybe it didn't. Maybe it's a different project. And then maybe people got confused later and they believe it's Lily Finance related. Regardless, this address got some very nice airdrops from that, whatever it is, from Cyborg, from Cone Game, whatever that is, and from the BurnX. That must be nice. When you get dropped, essentially, what is now equal about $3,000, taking no effort. Now, it's possible, and I want to be stressing here, it's possible that this person put in some money, and this is part of the airdrop they got at the pre-sale. However, seeing 3 different wallets get the exact same number of tokens is a bit sketchy. If there was a minimum that you could put in, that would make sense, but the minimum's usually like $40 or something. Could be 1 BNB, maybe, so that's 300 some odd dollars. Well, then it's a problem that you have this much money already that could flow out of the project. Because if we go over here to our site, auto burn on every transaction, that's fine. Automatic liquidity, that's fine. If we go back to the chart, we can see that there's a fair amount of dumping that's happening on this project. There's still some buys, but there's some dumping, like right here, almost $1,000. As a result, this is not able to climb and go anywhere near, and the volume is tapered off, largely because people aren't sure if this is going to be a crap out or not. My summary thoughts. I don't think this is a scam specifically, because if they went to the effort of doing desert finance, it seems like they're here and legit in what they're trying to do. However, the issues in the contract tell me it's not sustainable, and the fact that the holders have so much supply tells me it's probably going to crap out when this grows to a certain point. Its current price is just about 2 zeros and 3-ish. My figuring, people are sitting waiting for this to hit a penny or even $1 or even 10 cents. I think they're waiting to hit that, and then they're going to immediately dump out. And because of the way the holder breakout is situated, when they dump, this project is pretty much dead in the water. And I don't think that that auto liquidify is going to make a bit of difference, especially if this guy decides to dump. For what it's worth, again, the owner does not appear to have hardly any tokens at all. However, the owner, the person, could be one of these wallets and we wouldn't know it. Could be their buddies and we wouldn't know this. Because down here, it specifically says that the owner can basically assign all they want down to specific holder addresses, which creates a risk that it's somebody trying to enrich their buddies, and we just don't know. I would never invest in this type of a project, especially because of the pre-sale. Pre-sale is what makes it higher risk. That's one. Two, the airdrops they did, if you're dealing with a constrained supply, and this one only has 1 billion total, and you airdropped any part of that, it's already constrained. Doing airdrops at a heavily constrained supply, you're basically giving money to people for the pump and dump. So I would never do that. Other than that, I understand what they're trying to do, and it'll run for however long it does, and it'll be successful for however long it lasts, and that's fine. But it's a huge risk because of that. And it's a huge risk because of the pre-sale. If people want to jump in because they think there's an opportunity here, by all means. I personally would not do it. And I'd be curious what, other than Luna, what really inspired them to think this is a good idea. Maybe there's something they know that I don't. Can't say for a fact. Luna BurnX, lunaburnx.com. If you want to check it out yourself, by all means, on the Binance Smart Chain. I'm not making any statements other than I would not buy into this project. And I question why it really exists other than banking on the Luna situation. And it's not associated with Luna. They're banking on what happened with Luna and trying to get those people over there to probably make a quick buck or get their money back. You've heard me say, hopefully, if you listen to my show, I don't support the pump and dump ones. I continue not to do so. That's what this feels like. At some point, I suspect it will dump and never recover. That's my theory based on supply. Thank you. See ya.